Welcome back, guys. In this video, we're going to be talking about secondary dominants. And this is one of the most popular ways people use notes outside of the scale. So first, we have to learn what a dominant chord is. If we look at the Roman numerals, every single one of them has a name, and the 5 is called the dominant. And this is the second most important chord after the tonic. And the reason this chord is so important is because it really helps us hear the tonal center of the key. Anytime you'd hear that big ending 1 chord, it's usually the dominant 5 that's right before it. So the dominant is the 5 of whatever key you're in. So if I'm in the key of C major, then the dominant is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I'm in the key of A major, the dominant is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you know what the dominant is, we're going to go over what secondary dominants are. In the key of C major, there is only one dominant chord, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the only dominant chord. There's no others in the key. But for secondary dominants, we're going to create dominants that are not for the tonic. So let's do an example so it makes a bit more sense. First, we're going to pick out a chord progression. Let's work in the key of C major. We can do 1, and then 6, and then 4, and then 5. Okay? Now, in between all of these chords, we're going to do a passing chord, and that passing chord is going to be a secondary dominant. So when we're looking for the secondary dominant, we're looking at the chord we're about to arrive to. In our case, it's this A. And all we have to do is figure out the dominant of A. So if A is 1, what is 5? And we can just simply count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's E, then E dominant is going to be our chord. C, E major, and then A minor. And you can see that even though we're in the key of C, we have this G sharp right there, and that's not part of our key, but it sounds good because we resolve it to the A minor. So there's two ways that you can write this down. You can go 1, major 3rd, minor 6, or you can go 1, 5 of 6, and then 6. And this is pretty straightforward. 5 of 6 means the dominant of the 6th chord. And Sam Smith uses this chord progression, and I'm not the only one. See that? Major 3, and then the 6. Let's go to the next chord in our progression. So we're at A minor, and then we're going to go to F major. So we're doing the exact same thing. If F is our 1, what is our 5? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be C. So instead of C major 7, it's going to be C dominant 7, because we're doing secondary dominants. And you can see that this B flat isn't in our scale either. A minor, C dominant 7, and then F major. And the way we notate this is we can do a dominant 1 into the 4, or we can do a 5 of 4 into 4. And you should notice that it doesn't matter if we're going to a major or minor chord. We're going to be playing a dominant 7 every single time. The first time we're going to an A minor, but we're still playing a dominant 7. And the second time we're going to a major chord, but we're still playing a dominant 7. And then from the F major, we're going to a G major. And let's do the exact same thing. If G is our 1, what is our 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D, D, dominant 7. And you can see that this F sharp isn't in the key. And this can be notated as a major 2 or a 5 of 5. So let's look at what we did. We started with a 1, 6, 4, 5, and then we put our secondary dominants as passing chords. So we go 1, dominant 3, 6, dominant 1, 5, dominant 2, and then G. And then we can go dominant, and then back to C. And we were in the key of C major, and you saw all those notes that are being used outside of the scale. It doesn't really matter where you go, it's more how you resolve it. I hear this chord progression in a lot of lo-fi, so we'll start with a major 7, and then we go to the dominant 7, and then the 4. Let's say we're doing a 2-5-1 in the key of G major, so it's going to be A minor, D dominant, and then G. Now, a lot of people like to use a secondary dominant when they're going back to that 2. So the 2 chord is the A minor, and then the 5 is E. So E dominant. 2, 5, 1, dominant 6, then back to 2. So now I want you guys to try this out on your own. Create a really simple chord progression and start adding secondary dominants in between. And I definitely want you guys to try it out for every single chord in the key. So if we're in the key of C major, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options. You don't do the diminished chord. And then I want you guys to make a melody on top and try to use some of those notes outside of the key into your melody, because that's going to create a lot of cool combinations. So if I'm in the key of C major and I want this secondary dominant of 3, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That, and we can do something with the melody. And same as usual, keep practicing, keep experimenting, and you're gonna come up with a lot of cool stuff.